Hello? Hello? Please, I know you can hear us. We are trapped here in the spaces between worlds. It is a wonderful yet terrifying place, and only our voices escape. You can help us. You can let us in before we go mad.
The BoogeyWoman by Todd Christensen. Thursday evening on a hot June day. Chelsea was out of town attending a work conference, and I was sitting around in my boxers watching the NBA Finals, suddenly thinking about charcoal barbecue steaks and a sixer of cold Coronas, a lemon wedge jammed in the top of every frosty bottle. I should have stopped by Super One on the way home from work, but it was out of my way. Figured I'd be happy with a couple of microwave burritos, smothered in melted cheese and topped with salsa. Wrong. I watched the first quarter of the game, fending off my overwhelming desire for steaks and beer until a little after 7, letting the afternoon heat dissipate as well as the evening rush hour traffic. Besides, I didn't want to start drinking too early. I was trying to quit after all. But as the saying goes, when wifey's away, the boys will play. At least something like that. My timing was perfect. Light traffic, green lights, front row parking right next to a cart corral. Grabbing out a wheeled metal conveyance, I entered the store and went straight for the steaks. Knew the layout like the back of my hand. Boneless New York strip plopped in the cart on my way to the beer. Corona added, I marched on, heading for the lemons, onions, and peppers. Ah, crap. Forgot the 30-minute marinade and had to backtrack. Passed right by it in my haste to get to the steaks and beer. Marinade procured, I rolled into the produce section, snatching up 2 lemons and a large white onion. I was picking out a green bell pepper and eyeing the red ones when the good-looking blonde approached. Heard her before I saw her. Poor girl had gotten the cart with the one bad wheel. I chuckled. Somebody's got to get it. Usually it's me. Turning, I froze mid-pepper selection. She wasn't drop-dead gorgeous or anything. Just a simple kind of beautiful. Deep blue eyes, corn silk hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. No makeup. Didn't need it. She had that natural farm girl look. She wore a light yellow sundress flowing down around her knees. Faded blue sunflowers speckled the thin fabric like the fine brown freckles speckling over the bridge of her nose and onto her cheekbones. I was maybe a decade her senior, but not to toot my own horn. I'm in pretty good shape. No middle-aged dad bod for this guy. Her sharp eyes met mine, widening wonderfully, and we both felt it. No doubt about it. We were thunderstruck. I glanced at her hands. No wedding ring, and I wasn't wearing mine. I'm a factory maintenance man, spending my working days digging hands into unforgiving machinery. Gears, coils, clamps, and belts. Looking for anything they could grab onto in hopes of fulfilling their flesh-mangling desires. I always wore it on my days off, but tonight I hadn't put it on before leaving the house. I looked at her hands while she looked at mine. Then we both looked into each other's shopping carts. They were twins, same selected items, placed in the same orientation upon the same gray-painted framework. It was strangely erotic. As if I were in the presence of a younger female version of myself. Before my thoughts slipped further into the realms of incestuous perversion, she spoke.
Red.
What? I stammered, feeling as if I'd swallowed one of my lemons whole.
You're going to get a red pepper next.
Her matter-of-fact voice was the soft tinkle of wind chimes clinking together in a cool breeze. Dropping my green pepper into a clear plastic bag, I continued to choke on my lemon. My days of flirting with the opposite sex were stale and far removed. Hell, I'd been married for almost 15 years. Married? What on God's green earth is wrong with me? I couldn't pretend my marriage was great, far less in fact. Didn't mean I didn't love my wife. I guess, somehow on some level I still loved her. Yet I also couldn't ignore my overwhelming desire for the beautiful young woman beside me, so expertly invading my fragile bubble of marital sanctity. She stood waiting for my response as the broken gears of my mind spun and clunked together, trying to manufacture a thought worth speaking. Honesty. Honesty is always the best and only option. At least that's what Mother taught me. Yep, I replied, throwing a nice red pepper into my bag. Hey, don't judge me. We ditched her crippled cart smack in the middle of the produce aisle. She took my hand and we glided side by side, heading for checkout. I was lost in the moment, feeling out of body as I took in the envious stares of other men. This mystery woman had a serious aura surrounding her, drawing men like bees to honey. It abruptly occurred to me how foolish I was. Chelsea and I did all of our shopping at Super One, and we both held jobs in town. If someone recognized me, strolling through the store hand in hand with a stranger, playing all the part of a love-struck fool, well, there'd be hell to pay. When I tried to pull my hand away, the grip of my impromptu lady friend tightened, alarmingly strong for a girl.
It's okay,
she whispered.
No one important is going to see us. And so what if they do? It's just you and me now.
Somewhere in the far reaches of my brain, alarm bells sounded, but they were buried deep by the love spell cast upon me. I loaded my groceries into the trunk of her car and left my truck in the parking lot. I didn't know her name and she didn't know mine. Didn't matter. She was my Destiny, a fitting name for now. Destiny drove out of town like a bat out of hell in her blue, souped-up '88 IROC Z. Reckless Life by Guns N' Roses blared from her custom stereo. Scenery whipping by, the feel of speed, the music of my youth, all pumped through my veins like rocket fuel. God help me, I felt like a kid again. Conversation was impossible, unnecessary. We were simpatico, 2 peas in a pod. I had met my soulmate. She left the highway, turning onto a back road in a tortured scream of rubber, holding its own with Axel's screeching vocals. A couple of miles of tree-lined road, another heart-stopping corner, and we were on the black asphalt of a gated lane. Blowing through the open gates, we rounded a bend and I saw a house. No, it was more of a castle, straight from the fairy tales Mama used to read me. Gray cobblestone 3-story, if it didn't have a basement. Probably did. Wine cellar, secret rooms, my imagination was on overdrive. Destiny killed the motor and we got out of her car, the rumble of glass-packed mufflers and hair metal still rattling my eardrums.
Here we are, home sweet home,
she chimed in a sweet, sing-song cadence. I grabbed our groceries and she led me down a polished rock path leading to the back of the house. Paradise awaited. Meticulously kept flower gardens wove through manicured patches of lush green grass. Our path led us through towering red poppies, blooming pink rose bushes, and carefully trimmed shrubbery, ending at the foot of a short set of stairs. A few steps up, and I stared in wonder at a large pool and hot tub, seamlessly inlaid into an immense tile and concrete deck. A large charcoal grill sat in glory within a fully stocked outdoor kitchen.
Do you mind getting the steaks marinating and the grill going? I'm sure you'll find everything you need in the kitchen. I'm going to freshen up and get into something a little more comfortable. If you have to use the bathroom, the trees are over there. Or you can use the guest cabin.
She pointed to a log structure, more house than cabin, before disappearing like a wisp into her cobblestone castle. I wandered dazedly into the cooking area and tossed the groceries onto a cut granite counter. Putting the beer in the fridge, I plucked one out before shutting the stainless steel door. A ridiculously sharp paring knife was readily available next to a cutting board, and I used them to cut up some lemon wedges before going in search of Ziploc bags. Pulling a gallon-sized one from a drawer, I threw in the steaks, adding a copious amount of teriyaki marinade and squishing it around. I sliced up the peppers and onions and added them to the mix as well, before chucking the whole kit and caboodle into the fridge and grabbing another beer. Boy, had the first one gone down way too easy. I'd just fired up the grill when Destiny emerged from her fairy tale abode. Disappointment coursed through me when I saw her comfortable attire. A baggy pair of gray sweatpants and matching sweatshirt. Not sure what I'd been expecting, but I was dang sure disappointed. She must have seen it in my face because she laughed. If her voice was the soft tinkle of wind chimes, her laugh was the cool breeze that swayed them, light, airy, and intoxicating.
It gets cold here at night. I brought you a jacket. You might want it later. It was my late husband's. It should fit you.
Huh. Dead husband. That explains a lot. He must have been loaded. As she draped the jacket over the back of a patio chair, I saw what else she carried. A pair of swim trunks. I shot her a look of confusion, peppered with a healthy dash of disdain. A jacket is one thing, but no way in hell am I putting my boys into a dead man's shorts.
Don't worry.
She was laughing again.
They're brand new. He didn't get a chance to wear them before his passing.
Her light-hearted amusement tapered off as a profound sadness took over her face. I'm sorry for your loss. Before I could think of anything else cliché to say, she continued.
It's okay. It's been almost 5 years now, and I heal a bit more every day. He was a very successful businessman. Unfortunately, his ambitions left little time for me. Though we did love each other, each in our own way, I guess. He left me this place and a couple of others, a ski condo in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and a mountain cabin in Colorado. I don't use them much, usually just rent them out to skiers and hunters. The rental income, plus the money and investments willed to me, well, let's just say, unless something drastic happens, nothing save an act of God, really, I'm well set, even if I live forever. Sometimes I wonder if I'd trade it all to have him back.
I somehow met her gaze, and the absolute truth, blazing passionately from bright blue irises, made my knees go weak. What she said next almost toppled me over.
Probably not, now that I've found you.
I closed my eyes and swayed on my feet, my mind's eye conjuring images of Chelsea in her wedding gown, regally walking up a flower-strewn church aisle, facing me before God and man as we proclaimed our sacred vows to one another. I slugged down the remainder of my beer, looked Destiny in the eye, and blurted, "I'm married!" Her reaction to my confession furthered my discombobulation. No anger, shock, or dismay. Only gales of laughter bringing happy tears to eyes that'd been on the verge of leaking sadness mere moments before.
I know you are, Donald. Or do you prefer Don or Donny?
Another wave of vertigo. The empty bottle of Corona almost slipped from my hand. How? How did you know? Wait, how do you know my name? I demanded.
I saw it on your driver's license when the grocery teller carded you, silly. As for the married part, don't ever underestimate a woman's intuition. It was pretty obvious, though. You carry yourself with confidence, and you're a good-looking man. No doubt a real lady killer back in the day. But you're so far removed from that, and it shows. I thought you were going to pass out when you first saw me. You couldn't even talk. Then there was that little stunt when you tried to pull your hand away. You were terrified someone you knew might see us.
The alarm in my head sounded again. Not bells this time, rather the strange, wobbly squeak of a shopping cart wheel gone rogue. Listen, I really have to go. You're a fantastic woman, but I can't do this. Please, if you can just give me a ride back to my truck, I'd appreciate it. Thank you for your hospitality, I finished lamely.
Nonsense, Donny. Yes, my woman's intuition tells me you prefer Donny, right?
Dang, this was getting weirder by the minute, as if I'd just stepped into an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Come on, Donny. Let's get you sat down before you fall over.
She removed the empty bottle from my hand, took my elbow, and helped me into a cushioned beach chair next to the kitchen.
I'll get you another beer and start cooking while you tell me all about yourself. You already know so much about me, and fair is fair. Then, if you still want to leave, I'll take you back to town.
Destiny leaned over me. Strands of blonde hair freed from the bondage of her hair tie tickled my face. Her skin smelled faintly of flower petals, her breath of mint, as she whispered, ever so softly,
Do we have a deal, Donny boy?
Struggling with all of my might, I fought the urge to wrap my arms around her and pull her down on top of me, feeling as helpless as a babe in the woods. There's only 3 beers left, I muttered. She stood up, smiling widely, perfectly even white teeth glowing in the outdoor lights switching on as darkness overtook the light of day.
That's okay. I only need one while I cook. Remember, I might have to take you home later. But if you decide to stay,
She added teasingly.
I have a fully stocked bar, and I used to bartend. I can make you a Long Island iced tea that'll blow your balls off.
It was my turn to laugh. Couldn't help myself. Who was this beautiful, intriguing young woman, and why had she chosen me? I chugged on my beer while watching her prepare our steaks and veggies on the grill. Girl knew how to cook. Graceful, no wasted motion, like she'd done it 100 times before. Feeling more buzzed than I should have, I found myself giving her an abbreviated version of my life up to present day. Born and raised on a small ranch in Montana. Baseball phenom, expected to go pro until injuries derailed my career before I even finished college. Meeting and eventually marrying Chelsea. Turning down an office job in her father's Texas oil company before begging her to move back to Montana with me. Only the beginning of our marital problems. Chelsea had bigger hopes and aspirations. She wasn't happy living in a small Montana town with a small chiropractic business. Her parents hated me for taking their daughter away, and took every chance they got to undermine our marriage, through lengthy phone calls and email exchanges. I wanted kids, and Chelsea didn't. It was cheaper and easier for me to get snipped, so I got it done, just trying to keep the peace. After that, I began spending way too much time at the bar, drinking, shooting pool, and throwing darts with my buddies. I'd been on the wagon for a few months, but it didn't seem to be helping our marriage any. Then Chelsea left town for a chiropractic conference, and, well, here I was, and I really had to piss. I got up, dropping my empty into the trash can, and began wandering towards the tree line.
Where are you going?
Did I detect a hint of alarm lurking beneath Destiny's inquiry? Just going to take a leak, I answered, a little confused. Had she not given me the okay earlier to use the forest as an outhouse?
Not in the trees after dark, hon. Use the guest cabin. There's nothing but 50 miles of wilderness out there past the property line. Wouldn't want you wandering off and getting lost. Besides, I've had a mountain lion hanging around. Haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it screaming after dark. God-awful sound, like a woman being tortured.
She was lying. I was sure of it. But why? It didn't make any sense. I felt her gaze following me as I nervously changed direction and headed for the guest house. Without breaking stride and careful not to turn my head, I shifted my eyes left and scanned the tree line. It was dark and foreboding, like any forest at night. But there was something more. The presence of evil skulking in the shadows beyond. The feeling of 100 pairs of eyes watching me, salivating teeth-filled mouths beneath their unseen peepers, hungry and longing to devour. Pissing into the guest house urinal, I told myself it would be rude and incredibly suspicious if I asked to go home again before supper. I had to man up and eat, play it all off as if nothing strange was going on here, like I wasn't suddenly scared out of my ever-loving mind. Then, after supper, I would what? Graciously excuse myself? Jump up and flee into the woods that contained monsters from my childhood nightmares? And what of my feelings for Destiny? I mean, we loved each other, didn't we? Frickin' ridiculous. I didn't even know her real name. When I returned to the dining area, 2 heaping piles of food awaited. A welcoming fire blazed in a stone fire pit, and a soft symphony filled the air around us. The last frosty Corona, lemon wedge jammed into its top, sat next to my steaming plate.
Jeez, took you long enough. Better eat before it gets cold.
No longer hungry or thirsty, I plastered on a fake grin and sat down across from Destiny at the table. And just like that, all was right with the world again. The smell of prime steak and charcoal, the sound of music mixing with the crackle of fire, Destiny's magnetic aura, all wrapping me in a loving mother's embrace. My anxiety flew from my body in milliseconds, the avian whoosh of feathered wings taking flight. I muttered thanks before cutting into my New York prime. I'd requested rare, and rare is what I got. Meat seared perfectly on both sides while the inside remained a hot, bloody mess. Perfection. Mouth stuffed full, I glanced at my hostess's steak. Mine was well done in comparison. I couldn't help but comment. "Dang, you gonna eat that? It ain't even cooked." She smiled at me and dug in, not bothering to use a knife or fork, just bare hands shoveling in alternating bites of raw meat and vegetables. Rather than repulsed, I was turned on. Destiny was a ravenous animal, wild and free, the whole time staring at me, an intense fierceness sliding up her eyes as she wiped her mouth, seductively sucking marinade and blood from tips of slender fingers. I dropped my knife and fork and began eating with my hands, letting my inhibitions soar free into the moonlit sky, to meet with my fear and anxiety in the starry expanse of space above us. I was finally free of all my misery and angst, all of the baggage holding me captive the last 14 years, an empty vessel filling to the brim with love and desire for this beautiful destiny fate had bestowed unto me. We'd no sooner finished eating when Destiny sprang with cat-like agility from her chair.
So, are you staying for a Long Island iced tea or what?
Before I could answer, she peeled off her sweatshirt and sweatpants in 2 moves, blurring into one.
After we have another drink, I think it's time for a swim.
Did I say earlier that she wasn't drop-dead gorgeous? My bad. So much for cold Montana nights. Things were heating up in a hurry. Her bikini-clad body exposed before me was more than any puberty-plagued teen could imagine in his wildest dreams. No wonder she wore baggy clothes to conceal it, for no man could resist. Taking my stupefied silence as a yes, she said about mixing our teas. She hadn't lied. The tall glass of alcohol served up absolutely blew my balls off. After a few swigs of oh-so-sweet nectar, I stumbled off for the guest house bathroom, ignoring the woods altogether. My earlier episode felt distant, even downright silly. Monsters in the woods? How childish. I was safe here. After an extremely difficult piss, I donned the dead man's swim trunks, trying in vain to quell my overgrown excitement. My stiffened member turned the shorts into a pup tent, and I couldn't seem to do anything about it. My increasingly muddled brain came up with a brilliant solution. Kamikaze! Bursting from the guest house door, I sprinted like a madman towards the pool. Almost there when suddenly I was running in slow motion. My arms and legs felt leaden and out of sync. Instead of my pre-planned suave swan dive into the water, I only managed a comical belly flop. You ain't no Greg Louganis, I absurdly thought as I sank to the bottom of the pool. I felt Destiny grab me beneath my arms, hauling me up to the surface as effortlessly as any Baywatch lifeguard. Pulling me close, she chastised me.
Hey, Donny boy, can't have you drowning on me.
The maddening, wobbling squeak was back, filling my brain with terror as realization struck. I'd heard it before, in the store when she'd approached me as I was picking out peppers. I'd heard it earlier, though, while I was grabbing up steaks and beer, backtracking for marinade. My heart pounded at the bone prison of my ribs. I managed to speak slowly, with a tongue feeling twice its normal size. You were following me. How foolish I'd been, stepping into the trap Destiny laid for me.
Very good, Donny. I knew you weren't stupid, just distracted and desperate. I didn't realize what a hindrance that stupid squeaking wheel would be. You almost caught me when you went back for the marinade.
She pulled me over to the swimming pool steps, and I found myself staring into desperate, malevolent eyes, barely able to form my next words. Did you drug me? Her eyes softened.
I'm sorry, darling. I didn't want to, but time is running short. I'm afraid I've waited too long.
Destiny's face morphed before my eyes. Aging years, then centuries. She was an old hag, ancient, 1,000-year-old mummy unearthed from its tomb. Then it was young again. My strength and speech drained dry as she hefted me onto her shoulders and began carrying me into her castle. Somewhere, a mountain lion screeched. Tortured woman, my ass. It was my scream that permeated the darkness. Up some stairs and through a door, she tossed me down on a king-sized bed, straddling my upturned form.
I'm sorry, Donny. I really am. This should have been the night of your life. I wanted it too. If only I could hold on a bit longer, we could have our moment.
Her face hovering above me morphed again, ageless to aged, beauty to beast, and then beyond. An amorphous blob of rotting gray flesh descended down upon my face. Tiny black marble eyes, buried within sagging folds of flesh, stared at me without an ounce of compassion. I was nothing more to Destiny than a bug trapped in a black widow's web. Just as a gaping sucking hole appeared in her face, where beautiful red lips once ruled, something wet and slick dripped onto my forehead, burning my skin like acid. The pain caused me to cry out and loosed my tongue. Who are you? A slight pause, before a garbled yet still feminine voice replied, her breath the foul odor of roadkill cooking on asphalt.
I'm the BoogeyWoman, Donny, and I'm going to suck the life out of you. Don't worry, though. I'll leave you just enough. This isn't the end. It's a new beginning.
Daylight streaming through a window beside the bed woke me. My head pounded. My face felt numb and sticky. I flailed my arms, but somehow couldn't bring my hands up to examine it. I was alone and tried to gather my wits, struggling to piece together fragmented memories of the night before. I'd gone to Super One for steaks and beer. I'd met a beautiful woman, my soulmate. I'd played the fool and went home with her. Oh Lord, had I cheated on my wife? I must have. I was in a strange bed. A nightmare, a terrible nightmare. My subconscious punishing me for my sin of transgression. I'd promised before God and man to love, cherish, and honor my wife. Oh, Chelsea, it's not too late. We can fix this. I just have to get out of here. Why can't I move? Sometime during the night, I must have kicked off the blankets. With great effort, I managed to raise my head. Tucking chin to chest, I looked down and saw my feeble, wasted body. It was a third of my original bulk. I was a shrunken rag doll with an overstuffed head. I screamed and screamed and screamed. The bedroom door opened and the good-looking blonde entered. She wasn't my destiny. She was the BoogeyWoman. Cradling my screaming form like a baby, she carried me out of the room. My screams turned into non-coherent blubbering. I sobbed and pleaded as we traveled through the house and down a couple of flights of stairs. A basement after all, and a wine cellar, just as I'd imagined. A strategically pulled bottle and a wall opened. Secret tunnel. What fairy tale castle didn't have a secret tunnel? Tortured cries of the weeping damned assaulted my ears. Of course, of course. What secret tunnel didn't lead to a secret dungeon? Wire-strung naked bulbs lit up our path. Ho ho, hee hee, ha ha, to the funny farm I go. We rounded a bend and my BoogeyWoman captor produced a skeleton key. As she unlocked the cell door, a multitude of scurrying, emaciated bodies with obscenely large heads scrambled forward, using T-Rex arms to propel themselves. She kicked at them ruthlessly, hissing,
Back! Stay back! It's not your feeding time yet.
The nightmarish trophies to whom I now belonged squealed and babbled in ruthless harmony. I heard my own voice join the cacophony of madness. Home! I love you, Chelsea! I want to go home!
You are home, Donny boy. Home, sweet home. Enjoy your stay in the BoogeyWoman's lair. You'll make new friends and get more soon enough.
Closing the cell door behind me, she threw back her head and laughed. The gargling, mutant cackle of the BoogeyWoman.